Hello, my name is Fox and you're watching Den of Fools. Let's jump right in. In week 44 of 2024, we had 101 tournaments, with a total of 2,633 players and 10,940 games played. We have the second week of data with the new rules, which should ensure that no tournaments are using the old points. We do not have as many tournaments as last week. We do have far more players and games, mainly thanks to the massive 588-player GT Talavera in Spain. With that said, this week the Space Marines top the charts, with 19 wins and 54 top 3 placings. They get a weight place of 22.4, which is nearly identical to the 22.3 they got last time. We will cover the divergent chapters in our Space Marine breakdown, but they are seemingly at a steady level, at least in terms of weighted placing. The Orcs come second with 10 wins, 19 top 3s, and a weight place of 13.5, which is the best of the known factions. This is a big improvement on what they were doing before the balance update, and it'll be interesting to see if they can keep it up. Guard continues to perform well with 10 wins, 18 top 3s, and a weight place of 16.4. They also did very well at the large tournaments, getting 5 wins, only one behind the Space Marines. Netcons are in third with 9 wins, but a lot more top 3s with 26. They get a weight place of 20.4, which is not too surprising given their popularity. Chaos Space Marines get 8 wins with 13 top 3s and a weight place of 18.8. I'm sure Chaos Space Marine players are happy to see their faction near the top of the table. The World Eaters are the last faction in blue, with 7 wins, 16 top 3s, and a weight place of 16.3, which is just the third best overall. The Death Guard top the green group with 6 wins, 15 top 3s, and a weight place of 20.3. The Tower get 5 wins with 1 more top 3, and a weight place of 29.2, which is a fair bit worse than what they did last time. The Legions of Photon come next with 5 top 3s, which were all wins. This has given them a weighted place of 15.8, which is the second best overall. They have done quite well in the first 2 weeks since the update has seen play. Eldari and Imperial Knights both get 4 wins, with 14 and 13 top 3s, and weighted place of 25.3 and 27.3 respectively. All the factions in yellow get between 3 and 1 wins, with the Tyranids in particular faring poorly, with a weighted place of 142. We do see some of the previous top factions low down, such as the Sisters, who get 3 wins, and a weight place of 34.3. We have 2 factions in red, with the Thousand Sons completely missing out on a win, alongside the Admech. We do see a lot more factions in yellow and red this week, which isn't too surprising considering the slightly lower number of tournaments. The Nerf Hammer for the very top faction seems effective, with both Sisters and especially Thousand Sons quite far down. 23 factions manage at least 1 top 10 placing, with the Space Marines getting the most top 10s with 161. Netcons are in second with 72 top 10 placings. Guard are in third on 67 top 10 placings. The Space Marines are the most played faction with 16.2% of all players taking them. This is actually a significant drop in popularity for them. Netcons are the second most popular on 7%, Guard are in third on 6.24%. The early results strongly suggest that these 3 will be the most popular for the time being. It takes our resident stats guru and Ultramarine fanboy Fearless Fox many hours to collect all the data. It would be great if you could show your appreciation by liking and sharing the video. It really helps us with the God algorithm of YouTube. We have grouped the win rates by colour, with the key at the bottom of the screen. In the second week with the new points, the G-Stealers again top the charts with a win rate of 55.7%. This is a significant drop from the 61% they got last time, but it's still a very impressive result overall. I honestly didn't expect them to be right at the top after the update, especially as GW themselves stated they needed more adjustments in the December update. We will have to keep an eye on them to see if they can continue to place above the Goldilocks zone. Guard are the first faction within the zone, on a win rate of 53.4%. I am very surprised they've done this well, considering they have dropped back to 46% last week. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep up the good form, but it seems as though Guard will be a top faction despite getting their most competitive list nerfed. Imperial Knights are close behind with a win rate of 52.3%. They do significantly better at the smaller tournaments, with a win rate of 56%. Chaos Demons come next with a win rate of 52.1%, followed by Eldari on 52%. The Eldari have seen a decent increase to their win rate, with Knights and Demons remaining around the same as we saw in the first week of data. Death Guard and World Eaters are the last factions in green, both on a win rate of 51.3%. Drukhari top the yellow group, just missing out on green, with a win rate of 49.4%. The Tyranids are just behind on a win rate of 49.3%. The Orcs get a win rate of 48.6%, although they did do well in terms of placings. The Tower on 48.4%, with the Netcons on 47.9%. They have taken a significant drop compared to last week, where they had a win rate of 52.4%. The Sisters have seen a big decrease to their win rate this time around, with 47.2% compared to the 53.1% they got last time. I must say, I am not surprised they've dropped back, and it does explain why they've done a lot worse on the placings. Admech managed a win rate of 45.9%, with the Thousand Sons only managing 45.8%. They have taken a big hit from being the top faction before the update, which isn't too surprising considering they got some significant nerfs. They have also dropped in popularity, so it could be that the top players have moved on to other factions, which can affect the win rate significantly. Space Marines and their traitorous counterparts just get in the Goldilocks zone, with win rates of 45.3% and 45% respectively. We do have a fair few more factions below the zone this week, with Votann especially taking a big hit, dropping to 43.9% from 53.4%. With some really big changes since the first week, we'll have to keep an eye on the win rates, but there does seem to be some initial strong factions after the balance update, with Gene Stealers especially doing well. We do only have 2 weeks of data for the running total, but it does give a decent idea of what the early meta is. The Gene Stealers are out in front with a win rate of 58.1% after 2 very good weeks. Imperial Knights and Demons likewise are off to a strong start, with win rates of 52.5% and 51.5%. We have 2 Eldar factions just getting in green, with the Drukhari on a win rate of 50.7% and the Eldari on a win rate of 50.1%. The vast majority of factions are in the 50 to 45% range, which is actually quite good to see for the initial 2 weeks of data. I'm sure this will change significantly over the coming weeks, but Chaos Knights, Admech and Grey Knights do seem to be struggling a bit early on. We'll have to wait and see how the win rates change over the coming weeks, but the balance changes have certainly shaken things up for now. Minus a single Deathwatch player, the Blood Angels are the winners this week, with a win rate of 48.2%. This is not the most impressive score, but they did top the individual placings at the 588 GT Talavera, which is a very impressive result. They do seem quite balanced at the moment, but we will have to wait and see if players work out more effective army builds. The Black Templars come next with a win rate of 45.9%, which is actually a slight improvement for them, if only by a small amount. The Dark Angels are the last chapter in the Goldilocks zone, with a win rate of 45.5%. The Space Wolves have taken a massive hit to their win rate, dropping to 43.9% from the 54.4% they got last week. It now looks like they have received a big nerf. It just took an extra week for the Space Wolves to feel the impact of it. The Codex chapters are predictably still struggling, with a win rate of 42.2%. When we look at the placings, the Dark Angels are way out in front despite their low win rate, with 8 wins and 49 top 10s overall. The Blood Angels have 5 wins with a lot less players, which is a good result for them. The Codex chapters managed 4 wins, with the Space Wolves picking up 1, and the single Deathwatch player winning a small tournament. It'll be interesting to see how the Divergent chapters change in the coming weeks, but overall, the Space Marines certainly seem to be struggling. The Space Marine running totals look very similar to the weekly, with the Space Wolves only out in front due to the very good week they had last time. If their win rates stay relatively similar to this, the Divergent chapters will be relatively balanced compared to the other factions, but it has seemingly come at the cost of the Codex chapters, who are currently one of the weakest factions in the game. With the second week, Chaos Space Marines get a total win rate of 46.5%, with the Emperor's Children only managing a 40.3% win rate from their 17 players. If you enjoyed our content, please subscribe, check out one of the videos on screen, and consider using our affiliate links in the description. Thank you for watching.